Hello and welcome to Yoga for Fertility and Conception. My name is Mariko Hirakawa and I am an Ayurvedic physician trained in India as well as a yoga instructor with over 20 years of experience. Combining yoga and Ayurveda on your journey to conceiving your baby is very powerful because both of these disciplines approach your health issues from a deeply spiritual and holistic point of view. Yoga teaches you mental, emotional, and physical control so you can manage your stress, master your body, and get in touch with the spirit within. Ayurveda teaches you awareness about what foods, activities, and environment balance you so you can reach your maximum potential. At the end of this video, there'll be a link for you to download a PDF document titled 7 Essential Tips to Enhancing Your Fertility through Ayurveda. If you're looking to improve your overall state of health and maximize your chance for conceiving your baby, I highly recommend you incorporate these tips into your daily life. Yoga enhances your fertility by smoothing the flow of qi, balancing your hormones, and helping you to release stress so that the blood vessels in your reproductive organs can dilate, enhancing the chances for implantation to occur. These days, stress is everywhere and perpetual in our lives, so we do have to take the time to consciously nurture our body and mind. So don't forget to download your tips at the end of this video and enjoy your yoga session. Wishing you all the best on your journey to conceiving a beautiful baby. Namaste. So let's get to some of the asanas. You might find that a yoga block is handy if you tend to have tight hips. Okay? We can put it towards the edge of your mat for later on. Okay? Let's start on our backs with the feet flat on the ground and the lower back lengthened on the floor. Okay? Then we'll open the knees and bring the soles of the feet together for Supta Baddha Konasana. You can grab your elbows and on the next inhale, sweep your arms overhead, stretching the side body. Okay? You can gently draw the tailbone towards your heels, lengthening the lower back. And inhale, filling your belly and ribs and chest in a single sweep. And exhale, relax your facial muscles, relax your jaws. And take a few deep breaths, thinking of filling the space between the rib bones, the intercostal spaces. And then you can release the elbows and let the arms rest on the ground, taking a few moments to let the weight of the thigh bones open the hips. Check in with your heart. Unconstrict your abdominal muscles. And allow the breath to fill the lower belly and the pelvic bowl. Usually when we breathe, we're taking very shallow breaths, using only about 1/3 of your lung capacity. So as you lay here, just focus on letting the belly expand into towards the sky, and as you exhale, let the belly subside into your navel. We're training ourselves to breathe like babies. They breathe with their entire bodies. And now slowly bring the soles of the feet on the ground and align your heels with your sitting bones. Okay? We'll take a few bridge pose lifts to open up the breath. Okay? You can stretch your arms long overhead, grounding your weight into the heels. On the next inhale, lift your seat slowly on 4 counts. Okay? And 2, lifting 3, reach the peak, 4. And now to exhale, lengthen the spine. 2, ease the hips down, rest. 4, breathe in, rise. 2, stretching the front of the hips and thighs. Exhale, lower. 2, 3, vertebra by vertebra. Last time, inhale to lift. 2, 3, open your chest towards your chin. At this time, let's stay here. Take your hands underneath your hips, interlace your fingers, and then gather your shoulder blades towards the center line. Your weight ends up almost on your collarbones. Right? Press into your heels and try to really lift your chest so that it's almost touching your chin. Keep your thighs gently hugging in here and allow the breath to flow. Here, as you breathe in deep, you want to feel a gentle friction in your throat because there's a natural chin lock here which will stimulate your thyroid, which is very important in hormone regulation. So breathe in deep and breathe out long, activating and stimulating your thyroids. And as you exhale, separate your arms and lower, expanding your upper back, middle back, and lower back onto the ground. And let's take a hip opener here. We'll take the right ankle across your left thigh, close to your knee. Flex that right foot, and then taking your right hand through that triangular space in the middle, clasp behind your left thigh. And many of you may have done this at a setting outside of the yoga class, but it's a great way to stretch the piriformis muscles deep in your hips. Right? Flex your left foot too, and try to ground both sit bones as you draw your left thigh towards your chest. And if it works out for you, you can use your right elbow to press the knee away from your chest. Breathe into your hip, grounding your sitting bones, relaxing your shoulders, keeping your head on the ground. And now transfer your hands to catch your right shin and your right ankle with both your hands. Right, cradle that like a baby, and then stretch your left heel to the sky. Exhale, lengthen your left leg all the way to the ground. You can rock the right leg side to side and open up that hip a little bit more. And now take a preparatory deep inhale, and as you exhale, bring your forehead towards your right heel. See if you can hold this couple of breaths, activating your core here, firing up your left leg, kicking out through the left heel as though you're pushing a wall with that heel. And on the next inhale, release back. And as you recline back, you're going to hold your right little toe edge of the foot with your left hand. Right? Turn your calf and the sole of the foot towards the ceiling and place the right ankle on the opposite hip. Right? Press gently down with your right knee, respecting that knee joint. Hey, don't worry if your foot slides down a little bit here. And you can grab your elbows and pull the elbows overhead once again. Stretching the elbows back and reaching out through your left heel. Take a nice long two-way stretch. Feeling the lengthening through your abdominal area, the inner thigh, the quadriceps, and also try to lengthen your lower back by reaching your tailbone towards your left heel. Exhale to let it go and shake it out. And let's try the other side. Right? Place both feet flat on the ground, and then take your left ankle across your right knee. Insert your left hand through that triangular space and clasp behind the right thigh. Roll the shoulders out of the ears and see if you can counterbalance your energy of drawing the right thigh in towards your chest while grounding both your sit bones against the floor. Feel that opposition lengthening out your back. An added bonus would be if you can let the left elbow pin the left knee away while keeping your shoulders relaxed. Breathe in deep and breathe out long, and breathe into those interweaved muscles deep in the pelvis. Now with the next inhale, extend your right heel to the sky. Transfer your hands to grab the ankle and the shin with both hands, and beam the right heel all the way down to the ground. Keeping that right leg active on the ground, rock your left leg gently side to side. Try to bring your heel a little closer to your chest with each side to side rock. And now take a full preparatory breath and exhale, bring your forehead up towards your left heel. Relax your shoulders and try to delegate your work into your core muscles. Good, and then as you recline back, take hold of the little toe edge with your right hand and place your ankle on the opposite hip. Spin your calf and inner thigh to the sky and slowly release the knee towards the floor. This is reclining half lotus pose, which opens your hips and the abdominal area. You can flex your right foot again and lengthen in a two-way stretch. Breathe. Let the prana flow between the upper and lower halves of your body. And exhale, release your left leg and shake it out. Draw both knees into your chest. And let's end this floor sequence with the happy baby pose. It's appropriate to our goal here, right, of creating babies. So grab hold of your ankles and your heels. Have the soles of the feet point straight up to the ceiling, and then press your knees down towards your armpits and shoulders. If you're able to, you can grab hold of your heels and press down. You want to anchor everything into the ground. Base of the skull, your shoulder blades, and the back of your pelvis. And you can rock that side to side to open up your inner hips. Breathe. And let's bring the knees together and roll over to your left side. I'm going to roll to the right side. I'm moving towards the camera, but you can roll to your left side, which is better for your placenta if you are pregnant. Okay? Press into your hand and come on up to sit. And we'll come into a wide-legged child pose. Okay? So in this pose, have your knees about the width of your mat, wider than your shoulders. Okay? And then draw your seat back against your heels. This allows your heart to open a little bit more towards the ground. Release down, pushing your hands forward into the mat, anchoring your hips back into your heels. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Opening up your back and your inner hips. Relax your forehead, relax your jaws, and relax the back of your neck. Now come on up to all fours, and we'll go into a circling child pose. Bring your knees a little closer together, knees hip width wide, and then start by moving your seat back as though you were going into the child pose. Now we're going to move your ribs towards the left side, making an elliptical circle. And then let your shoulders hover over your hands as you shift to the right, and then press your seat back against your heels. So on the inhale, you reach up the left side, stretching your whole left side of the ribs. And then exhale, draw back, letting your hips graze over your heels. Inhale up the left side, and then exhale back and down the right side. Let's reverse directions now. Up the right, inhale, and then exhale and back and down toward child pose. Allow your neck and head to be free, just letting their movements trail off of the movements of the spine. You're just exploring and opening the outer hips, the outer ribs. All right. And now come forward onto all fours for your cat pose. Let's take that block and place it between your inner thighs here to activate the core muscles and the inner thighs together. Okay, place your palms flat, and let's start with grounding your shins, rounding the spine, squeezing your thighs into the block, and trying to draw the block towards your face. Now on the next inhale, tuck your toes and send the block back as you move your heart forward and take your gaze all the way up. Keep that flow now. Point your feet, draw your shins in, and draw the block towards your face. Inhale, send the block back, and move your heart forward and up through the arms. 2 more times. Exhale to round. 2, 3, drop the head 4. Inhale to arch. 2, 3, chest up. 4, last time, round. 2, open the back of the heart. 4, inhale to arch. 2, lift your chest up high. From here, walk your hands forward 1 or 2 inches. Really spread your fingers wide and see if you can stand it up into a downward facing dog. Still with the block between your thighs. Squeeze that block and send your inner thighs back. And now we're going to walk our hands back towards the rear of your mat. And then once you have your weight on your feet, reach behind you and grab that block. And this is now going to become your seat. You can place the block behind you and then step your feet wide. Turn your toes out about 45 degrees and then slowly sit down, placing your seat on top of the block. If you need the higher dimension or lower dimension of the block, you can always adjust according to your needs. Right? Place your palms together and pin your elbows against the knees to stretch the inner thighs. And see if you can roll the shoulders down and lift your heart. And now breathe into your lower belly. Breathe your 3-part yogic breath. Check to see that the 4 corners of your feet are bearing equal amount of weight. Right? The 4 corners of your feet are the base of your big toes, the base of your little toes, the inner and outer edges of your heels. Keep trying to draw your lower spine and your sacrum in. Widen the elbows and collarbones to open your chest and lengthen your spine. Right? Good, and see if you can take this into a little forward bend now. Walk your fingertips forward. Keep the weight on your feet and drape inside your hips. Breathe into your lower back, your inner hips, and let your head hang. And let go all the stresses. Quieten your brain and focus on the still point between breath and breath. And now let's walk your hands back in. Parallel your feet again. You can lift your seat off the block, and now we'll keep the block handy for the next pose should you need it. Okay? Walk your hands forward for downward facing dog now. Your feet hip width wide. Okay? Stretch your fingers long. Let's go into one-legged pigeon pose. Look forward, inhale, and swing your right knee diagonally forward and out towards the right wrist. Right? So in this pose, you want to make sure the knee is outside of the line of your hip. Right? Tuck your back foot under and walk that knee back as far as you can. And if you have a lot of gap between your hip and the floor, you will want to use that block so you support your hip. Right? So slowly walk your left knee as far back as you need to. And then let's walk your fingertips underneath your sitting bones and try to lift the frontal crest of your hips straight up. Right, guiding your left side forward and the right side back. See if you can lift out of your lower back. Spread your heart and take your vision to the sky. Breathing in. And as you exhale, slowly drape forward. If you like, you can grab the head of your mat and pull it forward so you can slide back and deepen that stretch as you go. You can either place your palms, pile them up, and rest your forehead on them, or for a more restorative effect, you can place that block and let your forehead relax here. Palms can be down or facing up in a receptive mode. And allow yourself to really settle and relax into this pose. As much as your right hip is the kind of overwhelmingly strong stretch, you also want to make sure that the back leg is turned in, all four corners of your left kneecap on the ground, rather than having your kneecap point out like that. Right? Make sure all 4 corners of that left kneecap are on the ground. Take one more full breath. Relax your jaws, empty. And walk your hands back in for the transition. Right? Place your hands for downward facing dog. Keep the shoulders out of the ears. Lightly engage your core as you tuck your toes and lift it up to down dog. And if you like, feel free to tread your feet and just opening up the back of your calves and your Achilles, and equalizing the right and left sides before you switch sides. Lengthen your spine, open your chest, and on the next exhale, swing your left knee towards your left wrist. Okay. Tuck your back toes under and walk your knee back as far as you can. Right? This is important because we're also stretching the psoas on the opposite hip. Right? You can flex this left foot in order to protect the left knee. That will give you a deeper stretch in the hip. Right? Untuck your back toes. Again, you use the block underneath your left sitting bone should you need it. And then rise to your fingertips to lift the front of the hips. Open your heart and inhale. A majestic back bend. Open your throat. Take your gaze up beyond the ceiling to the sky above. And then exhale, flow forward onto your forearms. I like to really grab the front edge of the mat or push the mat forward to slide your hips back another 1/2 inch to 1 inch, getting a deeper stretch in the process. So you can set your block up if you like this, or just have your forehead on the back of your arms. And you can let the arms open wide to allow your heart to release too. Relax into your breaths and observe how the breath, the stretch sensation, and your awareness are all a continuum. Smoothing the chi flow, the pranic flow, and letting go of the unnecessary tension. Relaxation dilates the blood vessels and helps to feed the deeper organs like the uterus, the ovaries, so that fresh oxygenation can help nourish those organs. Let's come on up once again. And now we're going to bring your knees together and use the mat in the wider way. You can sit towards the back edge of your mat and open your legs to a straddle. It doesn't have to be super wide, but you do want the kneecaps and the toes to point up. So you can take one leg at a time and spin your thighs inwards. Take the flesh of the thighs and the buttocks back so it broadens your foundation and tips you towards the front edge of your sitting bones. Let's take your wrists and fingertips directly behind your seat. Actually have your wrists touching your seat and then pressing down through your heels and into the back of the legs. Lift up from the belly to your heart, to your gaze. Expand your chest as you kick out through the heels energetically. I feel the stretch from the inner thighs out through the inner heels. Okay, now bring your weight all the way to the front edge of your sitting bones and then walk your fingertips forward. You want to feel like somebody's pressing you on your lower back and tip yourself forward. Okay? So some of you might find that that block is very helpful here to use as elbow rest. You can bring your palms to touch and rest your third eye, which corresponds to your pituitary gland, your master gland, which controls all the endocrinal organs. You can also use the lower blocks, or some of you are flexible enough to come to the floor without the block altogether. Depends on your level of openness at this moment. Some of you can even place that block on your belly. This is only if you're not pregnant already. You can go all the way down and rest your forehead on the floor. So wherever you are, allow the breath to flow into your inner hips. Let's come on back up. And we'll take the next pose. Bring this, catch the inner knees and bring the soles of the feet together in front of you. This is the the sitting cobbler's pose. You can either hold on to your ankles or use your index and middle fingers to hook around the big toes and catch the big toes. And then drawing the sacrum in, lift your heart again for a back bend. Inhale. Open your chest. Feel the right weight on the front edge of your sit bones. And as you exhale, pitch forward. Lengthen, expand, broaden, and slowly, slowly drape forward over your stretch. And again, if you like to make this more restorative, use that block as your headrest in the appropriate height. Okay? You can keep your hands on your feet or rest them on the floor. If you want additional stretch with your hip opening, you might want to gently, with a steady pressure, press the knees down. So find the variation that works for you, and let's hold this for another 3 to 5 breaths. Make that internal connection with the inner organs of your pelvis, with the stretch sensation, and take a global scan of your whole physiology through the intelligent energy of your breath. And let's gently walk your hands in and lift yourself up. Gather your hands around the outer knees and close your knees together. The final pose before Shavasana will be the inversion Viparita Karani. Okay? So we'll keep the block within reaching distance and then recline on your back once again. Okay? For this pose, we elevate the hips just enough to insert the block. So I recommend using either the wide middle height dimension or the flattest dimension. So place that under your pelvis, not under your lower back. Right? So it's a little bit lower than your lower back so that your sacrum is nicely balanced on the flat end of the block. Turn your palms up as you would for relaxation pose, Shavasana, and then stretch one leg at a time to the sky. Try to get your heels to align directly over your sitting bone. And do the other leg so you're perched on the block. Now this is a great pose to do just after intercourse as well, so that it helps you retain that sperm in your uterus. Close your eyes. Allow your toes to spread wide towards the sky. You don't want to make this an abdominal strengthening exercise. You want to be able to relax in this pose. So if you need to bend your knees a little bit, that is fine. Okay? So really let your pelvis sit on the block and let your eyes sink towards the back of your head. Let go all the gripping around your hips. And let the circulation return from the lower limbs back towards the heart. Let go into the floor support. And as slowly and meditatively as you can, float one foot to the ground, the other foot to the ground. Lift your seat off the block and slide that block out of the way. Let's come down one vertebra at a time, lengthening your spine, creating more space between each vertebra. Good. Draw your knees into your chest, release your lower back. And as you exhale, extend your legs long for Shavasana. Turn your palms facing the sky. And let the shoulder blades slide away from the ears. If you like, turn your head slowly side to side to release in any residual tension from your neck. Breathe in deep into your pelvic bowl. And let go, allowing the floor to hold you up. If you like, you can take one palm over the other over your lower abdominals. And just feed and nourish the reproductive organs through the healing energy of your hands. Watch the gentle undulations of the breath underneath your hands like gentle wave currents. Breathe in the smiling energy into your organs. We're inviting a new soul to reside in our body. So make a connection with the divine, whatever form you feel most comfortable with, and invite that new life to take residence in your being. In yoga, we understand the body as a sacred vessel. So we honor the sacred light of consciousness by bringing the palms together and just mentally bowing to the light of spirit within and without. Let's take a moment to rub your palms together. And when you feel the friction creating the warmth in your hands, take your hands and cup them over the orbits of your eyes. And as you breathe in, imagine you're inhaling the infusion of energy from your hands through the eyes into the brain cells, into the hypothalamus and pituitary glands. And then relax as you watch the velvety, pulsating darkness behind the eyelids. Gaze into that darkness and make a connection with the inner presence, the inner witness. And now let's slowly roll your fingers from the forehead towards the crown of the head. Again, take a two-way stretch. Interlace your fingers, turn the palms towards the sky and then overhead. Extend through your heels and stretch long. Exhale to roll you through your feet to a point and draw your knees into your chest. Again, roll over to your left, rest on your side, and placing your hands on the floor, come on up to a sitting upright pose. And sit up tall. And let's bring your palms together to close the session. Bring your thumbs to touch the third eye and offer your practice to the divine consciousness inside and outside. Namaste. I bow to that light within you. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me. I wish you all the best in your journey to conceive your wonderful, beautiful baby. Namaste. Om Shanti.